Okay, we're going to start working on the next page to our mini album, and for this one I'm using these they're like a page. It has a score line on it. I found this in the Fabulous, what's it called? Fabulous Fine, the name has totally left my head. Fabulous Finds. And it's this page right here. This is the regular feature and it cuts out a window, but I did it in the blackout feature. So that's the page that we're going to be using. I'm cutting out 3 of those. So I have 3 of them lined up right here, and they measure 4 inches. And then I went to the Tags, Bags, Boxes, and More cartridge, and I picked out a tag from there, and I'll show you which tag I'm using on that one. I'm using this tag right here, and I cut that out at 2.5 inches, and then I have a little box here, and I got that from the Georgian Basic Shapes cartridge. I'm going to use that as a little pocket to hold the tag. So basically what I'm doing is making a little mini to go inside of my mini album. So that's the shape we're using right there. Now this one I did a custom size to it because I want to make sure that my tag would fit inside of there. So this measures 2.02 by 2.07. So okay, I got everything cut out. We're ready to get started. So we'll just go ahead and set my gypsy aside and we'll get started. Okay, so I have my little book cut out here, and like I said, I cut out 3 pages, and I'm just going to use my scoreboard to do my score lines. So I'm just going to line that up on here and do my score marks. Alright, I'm going to set this aside and we'll go ahead and start putting this together. And like I said, I'm making a little mini album for inside of my mini album. So I have my score lines all done, and I'm just going to go ahead and kind of crease those a little bit. And I'm only doing this so that it opens easier. Okay, so what I did was I cut out some pattern paper. These measure 2.5 inches by 3.25 inches, or 3 3/4 inches, and they're going to go on the front of each of the panels, the front and back actually. So I just cut them out in squares. I'm going to take my Crop-A-Dile and I'm going to use the 1/4 inch side, and I'm just going to go ahead and round all 4 corners on all of the pieces. See if I could do all of these at one time. Oh, I can. Okay, so I have all of these corners rounded, and I'm going to go ahead and use my ATG gun to adhere those down. And like I said, I'm going to do both sides on each one. I'm just going to go ahead and center this, and then I'll turn it over and I'll do the other side. Make sure it's going in the right direction. Okay, so I'll go ahead and do my other 2 pieces here. And again, I'm just going to put adhesive on the back and then adhere those down to the front and back of each one. Okay, so I have all of my pieces done here. And what I'm going to do now is I cut out an extra one. Again, it was 2.5 by 3 3/4, and then I used my corner chomper to round the corners, and I'm going to use that right on my page here. So I'm not going to put that down yet. I want to finish working on my album here. So I have all of my pages scored. And now what I'm going to do is go ahead and do a little binding. Now you could take maybe some twine or some floss or something like that and go in and out. But what I'm going to do is use some satin ribbon that coordinates with my book here. And I'm going to put the ribbon in through the 3 pages. And then I'll trim this. And then use my Tim Holtz tiny attacher to close that. So what I'm doing is just stapling it really close to the edge of the ribbon. So I'm going to go ahead and now do that with all my other colors. So I have another piece here, and I'm just going to rotate between 3 different colors. Okay, so there's the binding to my album. I'm just going to go ahead and cut these at all different angles. Okay, so that's my binding. Isn't that neat? Okay, so I'm just going to clean up this little mess right here. And the next thing I'm going to do is start working on the little front to my album here. And I have that square that I cut out. And then my little tag. And then for my tag, I'm going to take a piece of this leftover green piece that I used on the front of my album. I'm going to cut this at an angle. And then we're going to feed this right through the tag. Hopefully. Alright, just like that. I'll trim this down. So my front piece will be a little shorter and my back piece will be a little bit longer. And then I'm going to take one of the brads that go to the collection that I'm using. And I'm going to stick that right through there, and that'll hold my ribbon in place. Now if you want to, you can punch a hole with your Crop-A-Dile, but I think that ribbon will, or that brad will hold it pretty well. So, and I love that little alien, isn't it cute? Okay. So the next thing I'm going to do is adhere this down, and I'm going to use my ATG gun, and I'm going to stay as close to the edge as I can. And I'm just going to put it on 2 sides in the bottom, because like I said, we're creating a little pocket for a tag to go into. And I'm going to put that right here down the bottom. And then I could stick my tag right in there. Okay, then I also have these little buttons, and I thought I would just add these right to the front of my mini. Okay, I just had to go and grab my glue dots. So I'm just going to add those right to the front. And actually covers up a little mistake of being crooked. when I put that tag down, or the little pocket for my tag rather. This does not want to stick to this button. Try a different one. Okay, so there is my little mini album within my mini album. Okay, so what I'm gonna do to adhere that down. First, I'm gonna go ahead and decide where I want this to be, and I'm gonna clip this using one of these little plastic clips that I found at I think it was Walmart, and I'm gonna use that to hold my mini in place. And then this little page right here will go in the back, and that'd be another place to add a picture. So I know I want that to be right there, so I'm just going to go ahead and add some ATG to the back of that. And just going to go ahead and place that right there. So it's another place for me to add a picture, or to even do some journaling, because it is kind of a muted color. It's not really a bright color that you can write on it. So that is the first page to our second, or the first side to our second page. And now we'll go ahead and flip it over and start working on our second side. Okay, for the back side of our mini album page that we're working on, I decided to cut out the word boys, because I thought I have some great pictures of Ethan and my nephews, so I thought that would make a great page. And then I cut out photo frames. The boys, I used the Mickey Fonts cartridge, and the photo frames are straight from the nest. So there's the Mickey Fonts. I just used the shift key. And then straight from the nest, I used the photo corners and the shift key, and I used that cut right there. So it's the third one in from the second row from the bottom. So I cut out 4 of those, and I'll show you how we're going to put this page together. Okay, so I have the word boys cut out, and I cut out the O, but then I decided I'm not going to use it. I'm just going to use a button for the O. I cut out a matte piece. This is measured at, I think, 3.5. 1, 2. What is this cut at? Yeah, 3.5 by 5 1/4. So it's going to fit right onto here. So before I adhere that down, well, actually I'm going to adhere that down first. No, I'm not. I decided that I had some of these leftover pieces of ribbon that I used for the front side of my mini album, and I took that off for now. This is the front side. So I just took the clip off so I could work on it. And I'm going to take some of the leftover ribbon that I used for the binding of this book right here, and I'm going to use the blue piece and the yellow piece, and I'm going to put these on here. I think just like this. And then I'll trim it off at the bottom. So I'm just going to use my ATG gun and put some adhesive right on the back of this. I'm going to stick it right onto my matte piece here. So that's the blue piece. I'll do the same thing to this yellow one. And I'm going to put that so it's a little lower and overlaps the blue piece. And then I'll just trim this off with my scissors. Just like that. So now what I'm going to do is just go ahead and adhere this down with my ATG gun. And I'm going to put this right on. So if that's the front, I want to make sure I'm going in the right direction there. So I'm going to adhere this right onto here. And then I'm going to use my multi-adhesive here to put my photo corners on. So I'm just going to go right along two edges. Of course it's going to come out all over my finger. I told you guys I'm really messy gluer. And I'm just going to put these photo corners right on each four corners. Okay, the next thing I'm going to do is put my letters on here, and I'm just going to put them right down the side, right over the top of my ribbon that I put, so BOYS. So I'm just going to do it just like that. I'm going to use my multi-glue to put those down. And I don't want it to be perfectly straight. I'm just going to make the letters all a little crooked. And then I just need to get my glue dots out, and I'll put my button down, and that'll be my O for boys. So that is our second page, and let me just go ahead and put my first page back on, or my mini album, to my mini album. And we're going to clip that right on here. So I have a little tag here to write journaling. I have a bunch of places for photos in journaling, and then on the back side I have a place to add a picture. Okay, so that is our page for today. I'll see you next time, and we'll be working on page 3 to our mini album. Bye!